Queen A. So today I am glad to say that I have one of the best coaches around. My coach, he taught me a very lot. He's also a six-figure earner, and he's gonna come on here today. He's gonna give y'all some tips, to help any kind of business owners that we have on here. And he's also gonna answer some questions that you might be thinking as a business owner that you might already have on your head. So without further ado, I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Terrell Jones.
Woo! All right, all right, all right. I appreciate that. Thank you. I love that. I love the energy. I'm just gonna say, or rip. Like you get the trophy for the most energy. The speaker with the most energy in 2024. All
Hey,
right.
so
I'm
coach,
good. Thank you for having me.
hey, you welcome. So tell everybody first off where you from and what you do.
Yeah, 100%. So, my name is Terrell Jones. I'm from the Bronx, New York, and so what we do is I'm a business coach. So, and I specifically work with people who are coaches and speakers. So if you're in a place where you're trying to figure out like, well, I have some level of expertise, education, or experience, but how do I turn what I know into a service where I can serve and help other people, but I don't got to give it away free? How do I do that? That's what I help folks do. So, we've been doing that for the last 9 years, and yeah, it's been a blessing. We impacting more people every year.
Hey, I love it. I love it. I love it. So tell us a little bit about before you even became a life coach, because this is all about you. So before you became a life coach, just tell them about your little bit about your confidence level before you became a life coach, and then kind of just walk us through your confidence level
Yeah.
as you became a life coach.
Yeah. So one, well, it was a point in time that I was a life coach. Well, more like a productivity coach. So now by trade, I'm a business coach. But so essentially, before I started doing it, so I'm from New York City, South Side of the Bronx. Pretty much my story started from living in Section 8. Growing up, basically half of my young adulthood with my mother and my father, they split. And then I ended up living with my grandmother in the Bronx. And, so it was syrup sandwiches, Section 8, hanging with people in the hood. You know what I mean? Just, you follow you usually follow along with what the environment is, drinking 40s at the age of 14. That was like around the time I first started smoking. Like, so it was crazy, right? So by that time I was fighting. And so it was like crazy. But what's so interesting is I knew what the hood looked like. I knew what the block looked like, right? And I'm like, I'm trying to figure out, is this really all that life has to offer? Because one day I came home from high school, and I'm looking around and I'm like, okay, I see the same people rolling dice. I see the same people, drinking. I'm seeing the same thing over and over. And I'm like, I wonder if there's something different. So shortly after that, my cousin was telling me he was going to college. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, college may not sound like a bad idea, because it was, although I was like rolling with, with the people that I grew up with in the streets, it was, I was still like do my homework. Like I was like, it had nothing to do with my intelligence. Like I would come home, do my homework, and then I would hang out. And my grandmother, she's the sweetest lady in the world. Like she'll let me hang out, and you know what I mean. So it wasn't like like strict curfew rules and all that. So long story short, I ended up going to college, and then that was like the first major thing that changed in my life, which helped me see something outside of what I was used to in New York and in the Bronx. So then I went to college in Virginia. I went to HBCU. Shout out to Virginia State University. And so we did that, and so then I graduated with my bachelor's and master's degree. You probably can't see I got a couple of degrees in the back, but I graduated with my degree. I got a couple of degrees right there. So my bachelor's and master's degree, and then but while I was in college, I actually learned how to I got interested in entrepreneurship because I went to school for engineering, and cybersecurity is my background before I started going full time in this. And that's kind of when I started falling in love with was business. But it was I had it was a network marketing company, and they made you do a lot of personal development. So we had to listen to like Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins. We had to listen to some of these folks. At the time, I might have just been getting put on the ET, or I might not even been put on the ET yet. Dr. Eric Thomas, ET the hip hop preacher. So I did by then I learned, but I realized I wasn't necessarily passionate about that. So then a few years later, I graduate, bachelor's, master's degree, and I realized that, all right, y'all, I'm making good money. Like I graduated from college, and I realized I love helping people and I love entrepreneurship, but I wasn't really quite sure what I wanted to do in terms of business, because I've already started a couple businesses, but I wasn't sure about this business yet until about 2015. And I realized there was a lot of people I knew that weren't graduating and weren't getting into the career fields. And I'm good. Like, I'm making six figures in corporate America. I was working for Fortune 500 companies. And I said, what if I just taught people what to do? And I started learning, because I knew it was an industry. So then that's when I hung my hat, which was 2015, and I said, I'm gonna figure this out. But but like a lot of people, when you start new journeys, especially if you want to start a new business, or if you're at the beginning stages of a business, you might have a little bit of imposter syndrome, right? You might have a little bit of lack of confidence, right? Not really. I had the confidence from the standpoint of I knew how to help people. Like, yo, I can help you get a job. I can help you with your resume. These are things I was helping people with, but I didn't understand the business side of it. And that is when it held me back for a little while, but we figured it out. And fast forward to today, 2.1 million people impacted with our content online. Actually, I got a post right now that's going viral that has 1.9 million views, which is interesting. As we speak, we have launched 15 online courses, national speaker, 2-time published author. We graduated 200 plus coaches through our certification program. We have a group have a group of over 6,000 members in it. And we just continue on to grow and build. Lord willing, would be at 6 figures within the next year, and 7 figures within the next year. So, but it's just been a blessing. But that's what happens. Yeah, that's what happens when you stick to something for a long time.
Hey, thank you for that. I want to touch on something I heard you talk about, because I teach on this all the time. It's about environment. And I heard you say something about before you hadn't seen nothing else but the Bronx, right? And then it was like all of a sudden you start, I guess, venturing it out, and you seen vision. You feel me? And goals and dreams start popping up. But I want you to talk to the people about how important do you think it is to get out of your environment that you in and see something new?
Yeah. Oh, that's everything. Some of my early mentors said, you are the average of the 5 people you hang around the most, right? So if you're trying to get healthy, but everybody that you're hanging with around you is overweight, it's going to be much harder for you to get healthy and get fit, because you're going to make similar decisions to those people because you care about them, because those are your friends, those are the people you're around. So you're not going to want to go against the grain all of the time and keep butting heads with your friends. So you're going to have a similar bank account. You're going to have a similar philosophy or outlook of life. You're going to probably eat similarly. Like, who you're around, you tend to move the way the group moves. That's how environments work, right? And it's the same thing on how winning teams work. If you want a winning team, and everybody shows up to practice early, and everybody practices this amount of time, and everybody does this and everybody does that, you're going to get with the program or you're going to get out. Like, that's the way that it is, right? So that's how important it is. So for me, I knew it, I knew at the time that I've been in my environment long enough to know that I keep seeing the same people who are they're not really progressing. So because of that, when I moved, probably maybe 8, 9, something like that. And then I went to college like 18. So I've been at least 10 years before I even went in, and I was just me living with my grandmother. I was always visiting her because she was in the Bronx, I was in the Bronx. So I've been visiting my grandmother all my life, but I lived with her consistently and seeing people in her neighborhood consistently. For probably over 10 years, to be honest, because I visited and I would stay over there sometime. And right. So, imagine 15 years, or something like that, right? You seeing the same people do the same thing. It's like, okay, I could see, I was smart enough to see this is where I'm at. So, or what my future could be. So I just had to get out, and, luckily I did that. I tried something different, and, it resulted in better decisions.
Hey, I love that. I love that. And
Mhm.
so when you transition, do the people that you used to hang around then, or like, are they still, do you still like have the same circle of friends, or do like people kind of drop off as you transitioned, or did you
Oh
gain
yeah.
more people? How did that work?
Oh yeah, people gonna drop off. I mean, I know you know this, right? Like people gonna drop off, right? As you elevate, people will dissipate, right?
Right.
Right. So and the reason is because your values are no longer the same, right? When I was in my old neighborhood, we had the values might have just been hanging out, chilling, drinking, playing ball, doing mischievous things that could have got us arrested,
Right.
um, you know, and or it was just it wasn't. I didn't necessarily have a goal or a plan. You know what I'm saying? So, and at the time, you don't know because when you're in the environment, this is just what we do. Like we just hang out, we just chill. This is what we do. We might play video games or whatever, but this is what we do. So getting out and moving into a different environment really helped out a lot. And I'm happy that I did it out of state because had I went to a college that was like, there was a college probably like maybe 15, 20 minutes away from where I live. You know what I'm saying? Like had I went to that college, who knows? I would have still been around the same people because again, it would have been in the Bronx, and then also it would have been and then I would end up coming right back to the neighborhood and hanging out the neighborhood more. But the fact that I went to a college that was like 6 hours away, and I would come home probably like come back maybe like once a month, if that allowed me to pay more attention to what I had going on in school. And because of that, I just spent my time more wisely. You know what I
Right.
mean? So you gotta be okay with letting people go. You have to be okay, family included. You gotta be okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, everybody is not meant to go where you're going. And that's not good or bad. It's just like if you have a vision of where you want to go in your life, you take the steps to go there, and everybody ain't gonna come with you, and you have to be okay with that. And there's some people that you used to spend, and this is what Jim Rohn said. He said, who's a great, philosopher in the personal development industry. He said, there's some people that you used to spend 2 days with, and you got to take it down to 2 hours. And some people who you used to spend 2 seconds with, you got to take it up to 2 days. You know what I mean? Meaning you got to be conscious about the people you've been spending time with, and then spend less time with the people that's not taking you or helping you get in the direction of you want to go. And there's some people you're not spending enough time with. It's some people that you need to listen to them more. You got to get around people like this more and spend more time with them. But as your mindset and your philosophy change, just naturally, people are not going to come with you, and you're not going to spend time with that. But be okay with that because that's just the natural progression of success.
Right. Right. Said, I'm glad you said that because a lot of people think that when you start getting successful, that all your family gonna come with you, or they got to take care of all their family and friends. When in reality, what we know both is that when you start becoming successful, sometimes your family is the first people to go. And I'm not saying like when I say go, that don't mean you don't love them. That don't mean you don't deal. You just deal with them accordingly. You know what I mean? So you might just deal with them on if you celebrate holidays on the holidays, or like he said, you might just instead of having a being around them a week, maybe you just pick up the phone and check on them and say, how your day doing? And so when we say that your family disappear and they dissipate, that don't mean that you just don't deal with them. So I want to make that clear.
Right. And
That
that's why I said, there's some people that you spend this amount of time with, and now you spending less time with them. So that's the idea behind it.
right,
Is you got to be okay with that. You got to be comfortable with it. You know what I mean? So yeah. So then for me, how did my circle change? Right. So my circle started changing because I started becoming, when I got into this business, and I was trying to learn it. I said, well, it will probably make sense to get around people that I can learn from. It will probably make sense to get around people who are on this journey, on this path that we can, learn this, we could figure it out together. They're going in this direction. Because if I'm around people that are going in this direction, I would think that I'm gonna go in that direction too, because I'm thinking more like this. I'm hanging out with people, so I'm making better decisions, right? So that's pretty much what I did. So I started joining coaching programs. I started learning more. So that this was my journey. I said, okay, well, let me start listening to more podcasts. Let me start watching YouTube videos. Let me start reading more books. I got a whole library now, right, of books.
Right.
And I just started learning more and more and more and getting help and saying, okay, I want to do this business now. How do I do this? Hiring coaches to teach me this and teach me sales and teach me social media, teach me how to put together a program, teach me how to speak on stages, teach me how to be a better communicator, teach me marketing, teach me advertising, and just learning, and figuring it out. And you just keep going, and that's what it is. And then you start making an impact, and then now you look up one day and you realize, wow, like I'm surrounded by people who really want to make the world better. I'm surrounded by people who are really on a high level. Like last year, I would have never thought. I had a conversation, I had an interview actually with a 9-figure earner last year. He made 9 figures. That's 100 million. So I was talking to a 9-figure, and I was getting advice from him. He's basically coaching me, right? And I just it was so crazy because I would have never thought I would be talking to somebody that touched 100 million. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And even had a chance to build a relationship. So to where I know I haven't got a chance to meet him, but the next time I'll see him, I know he's gonna remember me. You know what I'm saying? So that so anyway, that's those are the things that can happen.
I love it. I love it. So now you are a business coach. Let me correct that, y'all, because I said a life coach earlier. So now that you are a business coach, right? So talk to us about like what platforms you own. Let the people know like if they're like what can they like what if they looking for you, like what do you help them with? Just kind of go over like what you do in general, like where they can find you at.
Four things that I'll give real quick as well, and I think this would be helpful. So number one is you want to make sure that you put together like a package, like we call it an executive offer package. Essentially, this means that you'll do you'll offer a you have to create your program. So that's number one, create the program. So and what I'm going through just in case, because I don't know if you might have just dropped off for a second, but I'm going through. So it's all good. So I'm going through the 4-step process of what it takes to actually do this, and so they have an idea. And if they want more help with this, folks can you can reach out to me. So an executive offer package is you have to create a package that you can actually sell. It's not enough to just have ideas in your mind. You have to be able to create it into steps in a curriculum with an offer and attach a price tag to it so people can invest. That's step one. Step two, you got to make sure you have to have a social media presence. If you're saying that you're helping people with trauma or start businesses, or anything that you feel like you can help people with, then you got to start demonstrating it. I was just telling I was just on a coaching call actually, and I told her, I said, you got to remember the content that you put out is like the trailer to a movie. If I see a trailer to a movie that's trash, like it don't look. I'm like, why? I'm not going to see this movie. Well, because I gotta go. I gotta drive. I gotta pay money for a ticket. I gotta stand on that line to get some. Then I gotta spend the money to get the nachos and the M&Ms and the soda and the hot dogs. And then I gotta wait. Then I gotta watch all the previews. And come on, you know what I'm saying? It's so much that has to be invested to watch a movie that if I'm gonna invest all of that time and energy and money, it better be worth it. So if I don't perceive it to be worth it, then because of what I saw initially in the 2-minute trailer, what I'm gonna spend 2 hours for if I don't like 2 minutes? So why would I spend 2 hours watching a movie if I don't like 2 minutes of it? So that's how I look at the content that I put out. So when we talk about demonstrating your expertise, is like based on what you know, and it don't got to be the biggest and best results. When I started helping people in business, I wasn't showing them how to make 6 figures, right? I'm like, yo, I can show you how to coach. I can show you how to put together a speech. I can show you how to do some content. And then when I started making a little bit of money, I can show you how to get your first client, right? And then I started making some more, making, you know, multiple six figures. I can show you how to make. I can show you make 10K a month, 20K, 30K. You ain't never hear me say I can help somebody be a millionaire. You ain't never hear me say that,
Right.
right? That's because I ain't there yet. At the time we doing this, you know, this podcast right now, right? Now, depending on when you see it, we might be there, but right? But you know, but I'm not gonna do it because I like to train and teach people based on what I have achieved. Like, because I feel like that's the most powerful positioning. I don't have to anticipate and talk about something I read. I could tell you what I know for a fact to be true because I've done it. And that gives you much more power, and that gives you much more comfort in terms of knowing that you can actually do this. Besides that, I mean, or after that, it's just really about meeting with your ideal clients consistently, which we call, you know, appointment pipeline, and then sales conversion, which is enrolling them. And if you can do that process, you can do this business, and that's what I teach people.
Hey, because he showed, I'm telling y'all better reach out to Coach T. I'm telling y'all, because he showed and taught me a whole lot. So, and I want to thank you for that while we on here live. So, you know, because you really have taught me a lot. Now, when I say this man has helped me, like, come out of my box, because he could tell you I was show in a box. Like, so, you know, and I am coming out of that box, and I just want to thank you for that. You know, so I got him over here. So I'm glad to hear you talk about that. So when people come to you and they're growing and they're coming to you for business, right? Because you help people grow their business. Would you say that, because a lot of people think when they come to you for the business and they pay you and you give them steps that they're going to be an automatic 6 figures earner, right? You know, and it really depends on the person. So how you can get some.
Yeah, 100%, right? So here's the thing. When you start any journey, you're not going to be good. Right, I forgot who said this, but somebody said this quote, and they said, you know, when you first start, you know, you're gonna be terrible. You're not gonna be good. So don't expect to be great. If you've just started playing basketball, you're not gonna be LeBron James day one, right? So you're not gonna be great. So, but you're gonna be terrible. But then the more you do it, you know, you'll be less terrible, and then one day, you're going to be terrible so little that people are actually going to say you're good. And I just think that's funny because it just proves that when you start any journey, you're not going to be good, right? You know, when you start school like college, the amount of, if you looked at enrollment rates and graduation rates, you understand that those are not the same. You have way more people that enroll in college than graduate, right? Why is that though, right? It's because there's a journey that needs to take place, and everybody's not going to make it through that journey. But if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to stick with it, if you're willing to get the skill sets, you will get better, and you'll get the results that you want. So when you start a journey, it's really about understanding you have to learn. You're not good. You might not be good at marketing. You might not be good at sales. You may not have the most confidence. Anything that you can learn is a skill. Productivity is a skill. Coaching is a skill. Speaking is a skill, right? Leadership is a skill. Like, there's a lot of skills. Copywriting is a skill. If you want to learn specific technology, you want to learn how to run ads, that's a skill. Like, so everything that you want to do in business is really a matter of skills. But here's the cool thing. The more skills that you learn and the better you get at these skills, the more successful you will be. And there is a correlation with that, but you can't expect to start day one and just get all of these, and just think you're going to make, 10K the next week because you haven't developed the skill set. I can tell you, I can actually give you leads. I can give you your ideal clients right now. And you want, and you're not you particularly, obviously I'm talking to them. I could give you, I could give you 100 of your leads, 100 people in your market right now, and you'll find it incredibly hard to even enroll them as clients because you don't have the skill set, because you don't know what to say on a call, right? You don't know the tonality, you don't know the questions to ask, you don't know your framework, so you probably don't even know what recommendations you really want to give them. You wouldn't know how to present your offer because you probably never did an offer, so you don't know what to even present. You wouldn't know what you're offering. You probably wouldn't really even know how to enroll them. How do I do that? How do I send an invoice? How do I collect the money? How do I even ask them to buy? Most people They don't even know how to ask. They don't even know how to say it. So they don't even feel comfortable asking, right? So it's like, so I tell people that business is simple, but it's not necessarily easy, because the actual steps to build the business is incredibly simple, right? I can say, listen, call, have a conversation with somebody, tell, see what their problems are, and let's offer them your solution and then enroll them. But there's 1,000 questions in your mind and things you're going to be doubting yourself. And can I do this? And will they do that? And will they this? And can I do? And so that's what makes it hard, right? It's just is that piece of it. But as long as your expectations are set up correctly, meaning you're patient with yourself, understand that you're just getting started, so you're not going to get results like somebody like me, right? Or somebody who has experience. If I speak to 10 people and potentially you speak to 10 people, that's going to be different, because I've been doing this for about a decade, right? And not only I've been doing it, I teach it. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, so because of that, I have a lot of reference experience. That's the thing. So as long as you're patient with yourself and you understand that, you willing to put in the work, you understand that it'll take some time for you to get really good. Not necessarily to monetize. You could do that quickly, but in order to really do it consistently, it'll take some time. And if you got that mentality, you'll be fine. Just stick with it.
That's right. Stick with it. Y'all heard me. Stick with it. So throughout this process, one thing I know that come up in everybody, I don't care what business you is doubt. Somewhere along the line, doubt is gonna come up.
Yeah, 100%. So, remember when I said when I started this, when I first started this, I had the knowledge to help people with with their situation, but I had doubt that I can actually do this as a business. And so I faced that for a few years, because I a lot of times we base our confidence off of the results we have, right? Or our reference experiences, right? So it's like, oh, well, in the past it didn't work, or, we'll see, that person didn't pay attention to me, so nobody must care. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do things like that. So, and then that hurts our confidence, and that makes us doubt ourselves, and it makes you say, well, can I really do it? And then we start to look for every little thing as a sign now of why we can't do it. And then what happens? And your confidence goes lower and lower, and then your productivity goes lower and lower. The action you take goes lower and lower. And then next thing you know, you're not living your purpose, and you keep feeling uneasy about yourself, because you're not living in your. I'm a Christian, like, you're not living in your God-given purpose. So whoever your creator is, you ain't living. You ain't living what they bestowed upon you, right? So, so for me, so when I started, I wasn't sure about the business, but I remember, I'm like, you know what? One day I just got some confidence, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna try this thing. I'm gonna try. I'm tired of like doubting myself. I'm gonna try this thing. So, so I went to go do this. I went to go do this webinar, right? And I'm inviting, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna promote this webinar, and everybody's gonna like join it and flood it, and this is like gonna be great, and I'm just gonna change the world. I can't wait, right? And I said, you know what? Let me, I'm gonna get this Beyonce ticket, because at the time, this is when she had the On the Run tour, right? Oh. So I said, let me get this ticket, right? I said, everybody, they're gonna want this. I didn't even have enough sense at the time to buy 2 tickets, because nobody really want to go to a concert by themselves. I should have. I bought one concert ticket. Exactly. So I'm like, okay, this is it, right? So I have this. Tell a couple of people about it. Might do a post or 2 or whatever. But I'm like, people gonna show up. So the time comes to do this webinar. All right. And I look at the clock, it's right on the dot. Nobody shows up. Okay, all right, well, we just started. Let's just relax for a second. 5 minutes pass. Nobody showed up yet. So I get a little nervous. 10 minutes show up. Oh my God, this is a flop. Oh my God. Oh, again. Nobody cares. I'm just gonna pack it up. I'm cool. I just go work on somebody's job forever. Like this, apparently this ain't working for me. 15 minutes. I'm getting ready. This is actually during the time of free conference calls. So this was like the conference calls where you could, like the teleconferences.
Right.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and hang up. Right before I hung up, this lady comes on. Hello? I guess I gotta do it. Okay. Somebody showed up. Yeah, hello. Now I came with the energy, and I'm like, well, I guess this lady. I'm thinking like, well, this lady showed up, so I guess I gotta do it. So then my girlfriend at the time, I said, yo, can you please just go on, just so she could hear somebody else's voice besides mine, make it seem like there's multiple people on, right? So, so I'm like, all right, so I'm training. So now, but I'm really giving a game though. I'm like, I'm training, I'm teaching, right? She's learning, asking questions. Okay, great. All right, it comes time. Who's gonna win this Beyonce ticket? Because I was on it as a raffle. So I said, who's gonna win this Beyonce? No, she was the only one I could win, actually. Beyonce. And then I said her name. Oh my God, this is amazing. Thank you so much. Right? So she wins the ticket. And I remember this was the moment that changed my life. In that moment, I felt two emotions. I was happy, one, that she won. So I was happy for that fact, like, yo, she's happy, she got some value, she won. But I was pissed off in another sense because I'm like, wait a minute. This lady was so engaged. She obviously took a lot away. I think I got some value. Hold on. So you mean to tell me it ain't that it's not that people don't care about it. It's the fact that I'm just not good at business. I have to get better at business. I gotta get better at marketing. I gotta get better at promoting. I gotta get better at just letting people know about what I have, and that what I have is good, because apparently it is good. Just nobody knows about it. It was from that day that's when I got on this journey of learning, of coaching, of wanting to change lives, of helping people. Because I'm like, everything that day, it really clicked. Like, I have to get better. Like, that's when I really started learning about skill sets and getting better at the skills. And because I'm like, if I could get better at the skill set of doing this, I could change and impact more lives. Right? I could write my own ticket. There's no cap on my income and what I could make in wealth and generational wealth and what I can give to my family and the freedom that I'm going to have. And so from that day, I was on a mission, and but I doubted myself at first, but I needed that moment, that epiphany moment that made me realize that I had value. I just had to learn the skills of business to get it out to the world.
Oh man, and I love that because a lot of people doubt themselves over and over, and that's why a lot of businesses don't start. I don't even know if y'all know about the story about Ford. I love his story. I just love the story about Ford because that man was called ignorant and everything else. Everybody doubted him, and he failed what people call blessings, but he actually failed times. But he kept going. He was so determined, and if he wasn't determined, who's to say if we be driving right now? You know.
Right. We might still be on horses.
You know what
Right.
I mean? Like, so I love that you said so.
Right.
Just give
Yeah,
me back info.
Yeah, 100%. If y'all want to reach out to me, it is IAM Terrell Jones, TERRELL Jones, on all social media platforms, all major social media platforms. IAM Terrell Jones. And I put it to you this way: like, if you feel like you have some kind of experience, or you like, I've learned something in life, or I've developed this skill, and I can actually speak on it, I can actually coach people on it, and I can get paid to do it, but you're not really quite sure how to do it. Follow me, keep up with my journey, because that's the type of content that I post. So like, if you're interested in that, follow me and reach out to me. Let me know that you saw this podcast, and I'll take care of you.
And what else?
So mostly I'm on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. But most active would be Facebook, Instagram, Facebook and Instagram are probably the two right now. Oh, and LinkedIn as well too. So
See, now y'all don't say I gave y'all access how to find them now. So don't be saying y'all don't know how to find a business coach. I'm just telling y'all, Queen, I give y'all the juice right here. All right, so so I want to just first off say thank you, Coach T, for coming on here. Thank you for dropping them jewels, and explaining everything to everybody, because you one of the best at it to me. I love it. I love the energy you bring, and just how, if you ask me, he's a coach that really cares. That's why I rock with Coach T, because a lot of coaches want your money. They just want money, money, money. But Coach T, He cares. Now, don't get it twisted. Now he wants y'all money too. So I'm just kidding. Like, I'm just kidding.
Listen, we run the business. This ain't, this ain't nonprofit now.
I'm not saying I didn't free y'all, but no, but he genuinely cares. Trust me. This coming from somebody who knows. Like, so thank you, Coach T, again for being here, for taking time out of his busy schedule, because this man is very busy. So he had to take time out of his busy schedule. Yeah,
Let's go. My name is Terrell Jones, the business coach, the best from the east to the west. And we in the building. And if you need somebody who cares the most, who will be there the most, and who's going to have your back no matter what, rain, sleet, hail, snow, I am your guy. And you can find me at I am Terrell Jones. That's what it is.
and slap them with truth. Well, thank you, Coach T. You already know if don't nobody else love you, you already know Queen A does.
Appreciate you. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
Later.
Mhm.
Hey. So I love Coach T for coming in here. He didn't have to do that, but he definitely came in here and dropped some jewels. And I just want to give y'all 3 tips to take away from this podcast today. So one of the things we learned is you have to get outside of your environment. I teach on this all the time, which is why one of the principles I teach on is environment. And as we just heard Coach T say, you have to get outside of your environment in order to grow. So it's very important to see new things. If you've always, only thing you see is negative, if the only thing you see is drama, if the only thing you hear is chaos, it's going to be kind of hard to expand your mind. So make sure that you change your environment, or at least get out there and see something new. All right. The second thing I want to tell y'all is that nothing comes easy. I say this all the time, and everybody tell y'all this. Nothing comes easy. It's okay. Take time with yourself. Love on yourself. Be patient with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Be loving to yourself. It's okay, because you're going to fail anyway. You're going to fail before you succeed. I must say that. And remember, Queen A don't believe in failures. I believe in life's lessons. So if something didn't go right the first time, that just means you need to tweak it and try it a different way. All right. The third thing I'm going to leave y'all with is that everybody, I don't care what business you have, I don't care, everybody has doubt. Everybody doubt their self at a point in time when they're starting a business, but you must overcome that doubt. Don't let that doubt, don't let that fear stop you from running your business. Don't let that fear stop you from being a better individual. All right. So y'all already know I have a free Each One M1 community on Facebook. If you want to join my free community, you can always comment, add me under this video in the comments. Also, don't forget, I am a life coach. If you would like Queen A to be your life coach, you need one-on-one coaching, or I do group coaching as well. Make sure that you reach out to me. You can reach out to me at queenaspeaks@gmail.com. All right. It's Queen, QueenASpeaks